What's up, guys? We're at Jones Subwoofer Solutions doing another amp dyno. A lot of you guys been waiting for this. It is the Ruthless Audio AD-100.1. So we're starting with the big boy AD-100.1. Did not come with any factory ratings. We can just assume that it does 8500 watts at 1 ohm, and from there we'll see what it does on the dyno. So if you want to drop a guess now, and we'll catch you on the dyno. We'll see what this thing does. Alright guys, here we are on the bench. Again, we have the Ruthless Audio 8500.1 hooked up. Did not come with any factory ratings. We're going to see what it does today. We're going to start with Certified, which is up to 1% distortion. Then we'll do Uncertified, which runs into clipping. And then we'll do our dynamic runs. And we're going to start at 4 ohms, then we'll go to 2 ohm, then we'll go to 1 ohm. Now I do have my charger hooked up. We should be starting around 15.8 volts here. If you do hear some fan noise kick on, that's my charger. The amp itself does have a fan, it seems. It's on right now, but I don't think it's loud enough that you guys will hear it. And then just to note, it has 3 power, 3 grounds, and I'm only clamping 1 wire. So when I do my efficiency calculations, I'll be tripling what the reading shows. So if it looks low to you guys, that's why I'm only clamping 1 wire. So without any further ado, we'll get to it. We'll start with Certified. Again, rated 8500 watts at 1 ohm. We're not sure what this will do at 4 ohms. We're about to find out. Alright, so starting with 4 ohms, we're at 15.82 volts starting. Let's see what this does. We got 3,581 watts into 4 ohms. We dropped to 15.78 volts. Solid performance for 4 ohms. Let's go back. We'll do a 2 ohm load. We're back to 15.82 volts. Let's see what this does at 2 ohms. Up to 1% distortion. We got 7,002 watts into 2 ohms, dropping to 15.4 volts. So nearly its rated power at 2 ohms. And we'll go back to 1 ohm. Again, this is an 8500 watt rated amp. We're at 15.78 volts. I'm going to give my charger just a second to catch up. .8 volts. I'm going to let it rip from there. Here we go. Ruthless 8500.1. And we got 11,427 watts into 1 ohm. We dropped to 15.11 volts. Crazy performance out of this thing for an 8500 watt amp. So we're going to continue now. I'm going to go ahead and take my clamp meter off. And I know you guys are going to say do half ohm, do 0.8 ohms. You know what? I'll let you guys do that in the lanes where you guys can clamp it. I don't want to risk running this too low with the static load on the dyno. We're going to stick to 1 ohm minimum. So moving on to Uncertified. And again, we'll start at 4 ohms, Uncertified, into a little bit of clip here. We're at 15.9 volts. Here we go. $4,173 watts into 4 ohms, dropping to 15.63 volts. Now we'll try 2 ohms uncertified. We're at 15.82 volts starting. Here we go. $7,699 watts into 2 ohms, dropping to 15.36 volts. So again, I'm going to let my chargers do their thing for just a second. We'll get into 1 ohm. Currently at 15.76 volts. Appreciate your patience here. Just gonna let it charge up just a hair. $15.78 volts. We'll give it just another second. We're at 15.8 volts starting. Uncertified at 1 ohm on the Ruthless Audio 8500.1. Let's see what she does. These are 40 hertz tones I'm playing. We got 11,887 watts into 1 ohm. We dropped to 14.99 volts. So crazy performance out of this thing. This is insane. This is an 8500 watt amp. So we're gonna continue on to our dynamic runs. Dynamic is a burst track. It's a 40 hertz pulse tone. Again, we're starting at 4 ohms. We're at 15.89 volts starting. Like I said, I do have my chargers on. Here we go. At least one charger. We got 4,442 watts into 4 ohms, dropping to 15.72 volts. Pretty gnarly. Okay, 2 ohms. Dynamic burst. We're at 15.84 volts. Here we go. All right. 7,904 watts into 2 ohms, dropping to 15.6 volts. Big power out of this thing. So then we'll go to 1 ohm. We're at 15.8 volts. I think I'll give it just a second, see if this doesn't come up. Maybe a tenth. $15.82. I'll let it go just a little bit higher. All right, 15.82 volts. We're gonna let it rip. 1 ohm dynamic burst on the Ruthless 8500. Here we go. I think that's it. 13,321 watts into 1 ohm. We dropped to 15.38 volts. What an insane number. All right, guys, be patient. I'm going to put up the performance review, and then I'll unhook this amp and we can get a better look at it. Catch you back on the bench in a minute. Alright guys, so that about wraps it up for the Ruthless Audio 8500.1. We'll take a look inside the amp, take a look at the end caps, and we'll move on to another Ruthless amp coming in the next few days. So this is too big for me to pick up, so I'm just going to show you this end cap, and we'll flip it over to the other side. You do have Tiffany style RCA inputs and outputs, left and right. Has a power light, a protect light, and a clip light. You've got your gain, subsonic filter from 10 Hz to 50 Hz, plug for your bass remote, low pass filter goes from 35 Hz to 250 Hz, adjustable phase from 0 to 180 degrees. These are strappable, so you've got your master slave switch there, and your strappable RCA input and output. And you've got 8 gauge speaker outputs. I was using 10 gauge, had a little bit of wiggle. I'm sure 8 gauge would fit fine. So hold on one sec, we'll get a look at the other side of the amp. Alright, on this side of the amp, you've got 2-aught inputs, and those are triple inputs, 3 power, 3 ground. And you've got an 8 gauge or 10 gauge or so remote input. And that is it for this side of the amp. Not much room for anything else besides those big inputs. Alright, and finally we'll get a look inside the amp. This is a beast, and I know he did post some gut shots, but we'll go ahead and get a close look ourselves. You've got the caps with the Ruthless logo on them. Big amp, lots of power. And you can see there is a fan on the back plate. So that is the Ruthless 8500. One last thing, it does come with an aluminum housed bass knob with a power and clip light on it, and one of the bigger knobs. This is a nice bass knob with the phone cord or Ethernet cable. I'm not sure which that is, but that won't pull out on you. That clicks in firmly on both sides. So that is it for the Ruthless 8500.1. Let me know what you guys think of the amp. Let me know what you guys think of the video. I want to thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit the bell so you know when I post a new video. Thanks again. I'll see you guys next time.